Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another box set battle. Today's box set battle is an indicator trio of box sets, and I'll just give my thoughts about each of them, and I'll let you know which one I think is the best. So, we'll begin with the Bloody Terror. This is the shocking cinema of Norman J. Warren, 1976 to 1987. And this is spine number 159, 160, 161, 162 and 163. So you get 5 films: Satan's Slave, Prey, Terror, Inseminoid and Bloody New Year. Second box set is William Castle Volume 2. If you saw my other box set battle video, William Castle Volume 1 was victorious. This one features Zots, 13 Frightened Girls, The Old Dark House and Straitjacket. And finally, the third one in the battle is Hammer Volume 4, Faces of Fear. And this one features Revenge of Frankenstein, The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, Taste of Fear and The Damned. So I'm just going to go through, give you a quick overview of what's what. So we'll start with Bloody Terror. So this one, very much like their Marlene Dietrich, Joseph von Sternberg box set, it's the cardboard sleeves for the films. First of all, I mean, this one has just a lovely lurid artwork in the front with Bloody Terror down the spine. So this one, again, it's just the cardboard sleeves rather than the Amare cases. This one has, as you'd expect with indicator box sets, a ton of special features. There's 2 presentations of the film, a director's cut and an export version, but the difference is 89 minutes and 90 minutes. It's just pretty much one scene that's cut. There's an audio commentary by Norman J. Warren and screenwriter David McGilvray from 2004. There's an audio commentary with Warren and composer John Scott from 2019. There's Before the Blood from 2019, a 29-minute interview with Norman J. Warren about his early experiences in the film industry. All You Need Is Blood from 1976, which is a vintage making of, which is 13 minutes long. All You Need Is Blood Outtakes, which is 33 minutes long. Creating Satan from 2004, a 30-minute archival documentary about the making of the film. There's Devilish Music, a 13-minute interview with composer John Scott. There's 2 deleted scenes with a commentary by Norman J. Warren. Censoring Satan's Slave, a 2019 16-minute documentary with the video demonstration of the cuts imposed by the BBFC in 1976. There's an original U certificate theatrical trailer and an original R-rated theatrical trailer, and obviously image gallery, new improved subtitles, and it's the UK premiere on Blu-ray. Then we have from 1977, Prey. I should say, the Norman J. Warren box set, originally some of the discs had issues, so they did actually send out replacement discs, but I must have been one of the lucky ones because none of the 5 discs have any issues. So I do have a backup disc for Prey and a backup disc for Terror, if I happen to wear them out. So the special features on Prey are a commentary with Warren and Jonathan Rigby, who people know who they have the Hammer box sets. He does lots of work on the Hammer box sets and is excellent. There's a BHP interview with Norman J. Warren part 1, which is 60 minutes, and that's from 2018. There is Keep On Running from 2004, 28 minutes archival documentary of the making of the film. There's 3 minutes of on-set footage. There is the 7-minute film of the bridge, which Norman J. Warren made when he was 11 years old. I mean, the extras on the Norman J. Warren set are ridiculous. There's a 2-minute making of the bridge from 1957. There's a 3-minute test footage from Carol, which was the kind of first script that he wrote, which was about a girl who falls pregnant in a party and backstreet abortions, and the amazing cast that would have been in it, including Michael Caine and various other people, but of course it was never made. Drinking Time, a 3-minute silent comedy directed by Warren from 1963. There's an introduction to Drinking Time by Norman J. Warren of 4 minutes. Whippersnappers from 1977, which is a 1-minute toy advert directed by Warren. I mean, there's even a 4-minute introduction to Whippersnappers by Norman J. Warren from 2019. Next is Terror from 1978. This one has an audio commentary with Warren and screenwriter David McGilvery. The Early Years, a 17-minute interview with Warren from 2019. Bloody Good Fun, a 41-minute archival documentary from 2004 about the making of the film. Tales of Terror, a 13-minute interview with the actor. Norman J. Warren, a sort of autobiography, another 28-minute interview with Norman J. Warren. There's also Horror Show, which was an anthology of 5 horror tales hosted by Norman J. Warren. That's 2008, which is 33 minutes. Daddy Cross, a 2-minute trailer for the 1978 Lost film with a voiceover by Warren, and there's a couple of trailers and radio spots. Next is Inseminoid, which is a great title, great cover, from 1981. This has an audio commentary with Warren and assistant director Gary White from 2004. This has part 2 of the BHHP interview with Norman Warren for another 67 minutes. It has Norman J. Warren at the Manchester Festival of Fantastic Films from 2011, which is 62 minutes. Subterranean Universe, which is the 45-minute archival making of from 2004. Alien Encounter, the actor Trevor Thomas recalls playing the part of Mitch in Inseminoid. Electric Approach, archival interview with John Scott, which is 13 minutes. And some trailers. And finally we have Bloody New Year from 1987. This was believed to have been lost, and the original negative is lost from this film. Audio commentary of Warren and film historian Joe Botting from 2019. Norman's Wisdom, see what it did there. 29-minute interview from 2019 about the lesser known areas of his career. New Blood, which is Catherine Roman, 16 minutes talking about her role in the film. The Art of Blood screenwriter and set dresser Fraser Pierce relates the production history of Bloody New Year. Fights Camera in Action, an 11-minute vignette from 2019. Actor and stuntman Steve Emerson recalls their work with Warren on Terror and Bloody New Year. Working with Warren, interview with filmmaker and Warren collaborator Vixie Soon. That's from 2019, 10 minutes. Turn Off Your Bloody Phone, Norman J. Warren and the Ghost, which lasts for a minute, which is the short produced for Fright Fest in 2013, and trailer Image Galleries. And you have a bunch of cards and also a poster for Inseminoid and Terror. So the box set is jam-packed, and obviously, as you would know, sort that out a bit, with Indicator there's also a lovely large thick book, which is excellent. Now let's talk about the film, shall we? Forget all the wealth of extras, which are phenomenal. So Norman J. Warren kind of fits in the post-Amicus, post-Hammer kind of horror scene in British cinema. These films are cheap and cheerful on the most part, influenced by other films, which I'll briefly mention. I'm not going to go into the films in detail. I'll just give you a kind of overview before I make the final verdict. So first of all is Satan's Slave, and perhaps the best one out of these 5 films. Obviously influenced by a cross between Devil Rides Out and Rosemary's Baby, and a lot of satanic abduction films, starring Michael Gough, which lends it a little bit of class and is kind of obviously a harkening back to Hammer traditions. So Satan's Slave is perhaps a slow burn, but it's a nice little effective film. Then we have Prey, which is a bizarre little film but a lot of fun. Perhaps a little overlong, even at 85 minutes. This tells the story of an alien who comes to Earth and happens to land on the grounds of this house, which is owned by a couple of women who are in a relationship, and it's how he reacts to them and human behaviour. And it's a fun little film. Again, perhaps could do with a little bit of editing. But again, in a lot of these films, I wouldn't say any of them are great films, but they have some really effective moments and atmosphere. Next is 1978's Terror. This one is kind of... It's a bit of witchcraft, and it's also almost a giallo. Warren was influenced by seeing Suspiria, and you can kind of see the influence of Argento in this one. Again, a good bit of fun, perhaps could do with a little editing. Next is Inseminoid from 1981, and again this is a fairly obvious alien influenced film, again with a bit of Rosemary's Baby thrown in. Again, fairly cheap production, not the best film you're ever going to watch, but again, it has a couple of very nice moments. And finally, we have Bloody New Year, which again, the negative was destroyed. So, I mean, Indicator have done as good a job as they possibly could, but there's still some kind of burn marks, which almost gives it a kind of grindhouse feel. This is a bit of a slasher, a bit supernatural, probably the least successful of the 5 films in the set, but it does have a couple of amazing moments, including one spectacular moment that's really well done, and kind of belies the budget of the film. It's really well done and effective. So that's Bloody Terror, the Norman J. Warren set. So moving on, we'll talk about William Castle Volume 2. And like I said, William Castle Volume 1 was the victor in the first box set battle, for several reasons, but one of them was because I had the Tingler of Vincent Price, which is awesome. So that's the cover. This is the white cover. The other box set was black. So again, we're back to the normal Amory cases for Indicator. So this is spine number 9899, 100 and 101. So we have Zots from 1962. This is a light-hearted film about a magical coin that gives the person who has it superpowers. Next is 13 Frightened Girls, which is probably the weakest out of the 4 films. There's not really 13 Frightened Girls. It's William Castle at his best kind of selling job. There's no 13 Frightened Girls. It's a child version of a spy film, and it's not that good. I can't imagine actually watching it again. I should have went through the special features. For Zots, there's an audio commentary by Kat Ellinger, who does a lot of work, not only for Indicator but Arrow as well. Stephen Laws introduces Zots, which is 6 minutes. There's The Horror of It All, a 24-minute career-spanning appreciation of screenwriter Ray Russell by Kim Newman, the fantastic Kim Newman. Isolated and effects track, trailer, and obviously the booklet. So on 13 Frightened Girls, there's one frightened girl. We have an audio commentary by Sam Dagan. Stephen Laws introduces 13 Frightened Girls. There's an alternate title sequence because in the States it was called The Candy Web because the lead character is called Candy. There's opening and closing danger card messages from William Castle, 4 alternative opening sequences, trailers. So next is The Old Dark House, but this one's played for more overt comedy and less of the gothic, as the original Charles Laughton obviously went for. Boris Karloff went for a bit more gothic. So this is the black and white US theatrical version, which is 87 minutes, a cut down A certificate UK version, which is 84 minutes, and the complete uncut colour version, which is 87 minutes. This has an audio commentary with Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. Not Too Spooky, a 29-minute appreciation by Jonathan Rigby. House and Castle, again talking about the film, that's 8 minutes. Isolated music and effects. And then we have Straight Jacket with Joan Crawford, which I did a random review of quite recently. This one has a commentary, Lee Gambon and Emma Westwood. Mirror Images, a half-hour appreciation by Jonathan Rigby. There's a 7-minute interview with actor Anne Helm, who was pretty much fired by Joan Crawford during the making of the film, which is a very interesting little interview. On the Road with Joan Crawford, interview with her publicist Richard Kahn. Battle Axe, The Making of Straight Jacket from 2007, which is 15 minutes. How to Plan a Movie Murder, which is a nice little promotional piece with William Castle and Robert Bloch, who wrote the script. And obviously the booklet. So I would have to say this set is not the strongest. Zot's is kind of fun. 13 Frightened Girls. Sadly, the extras are more interesting than the film, I would have to say. As much as I love Indicator, I do have to be honest. The Old Dark House is kind of fun, for Robert Morley and Joyce Grenfell. Obviously not a patch on the original. If you're going to watch The Old Dark House, you're going to watch the original. But the real gem is Straight Jacket. The real saving grace of the box set is Straight Jacket. I think I maybe said in my Straight Jacket random review that perhaps rather than buying the box set, you could maybe hope that Indicator release a standard edition of Straight Jacket if you can't get it elsewhere, because the print's awesome, and it is really the saving grace of the box set. So that leaves us with Hammer's Volume 4, Faces of Fear. Recently got Volume 5, but I haven't got into that yet. So that's the front cover without the J-band, or whatever it's called. So again, very colourful Amore cases. So this has The Revenge of Frankenstein with its wonderful lurid cover. Obviously with the booklet and reversible artwork, as you come to expect with Indicator. So it's a new 4K restoration. There's a commentary with Marcus Hearn and Jonathan Rigby from 2019. There's also another commentary with Stephen Jones and Kim Newman from 2019. Back from the Dead, a 22-minute look at the film with Alan Barnes, Kevin Lyons and Jonathan Rigby. Hammer's Women with Eunice Gayson, 8 minutes with Pamela Hutchinson. There's a Frankenstein for the 20th Century, a 27-minute video essay by Kat Ellinger and Dima Balin. Arpeggios of Melancholy, good name for a band. There's a 13-minute interview with David Huckvale about the composer, Leonard Salzedo. Obviously David Huckvale has done a lot on the music of Hammer and other box sets. He's very entertaining. There's 12 minutes of outtakes, Super 8 version. There's Joe Dante with a trailer from Hell. And obviously lots of good stuff. Next, from 1960, is The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, which is a lot of fun. This has a commentary with Josephine Botting and Jonathan Rigby. Identity Crisis Inside the Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll from 2019, which is 19 minutes. Making of with Alan Barnes, Kevin Lyons and Jonathan Rigby. Hammer's Women is Dawn Adams even, which is 11 minutes, which is a profile by Laura Main. Interview with Paul Massey, which is just an audio interview with the star. Now and Then, Wolf Mankiewicz, archival interview featuring the screenwriter and conversation with Bernard Braden, which is 28 minutes. Mauve Decadence, another good name for a band, 11 minutes, which is an appreciation of Monty Norman, the film's composer, by David Huckvale, The Many Faces of Jekyll, 7 minutes, which is an interview with censorship history of the Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, and the Sam Ham trailer from hell, and obviously a booklet. Next, from 1961, is Scream of Fear, or Taste of Fear, with Susan Strasberg, Robert Lewis, and Todd, and Christopher Lee. This one has a ton. There's 2 presentations of Taste of Fear, with the original title sequence, or the US titles. A commentary with Kevin Lyons. There's a 23-minute retrospective making of with Alan Barnes, Kevin Lyons, and Jonathan Rigby, the usual suspects. Hammer's Women is Anne Todd, which is 12 minutes with Melanie Williams. There's a BFI South Bank interview with Jimmy Sangster, which is 68 minutes from 2008. There is a BEHP video interview with Jimmy Sangster from 2008, which is 117 minutes, which is with Jonathan Rigby. There's a BHP interview with Douglas Slocum, Part 2, Hammer to Spielberg, from 1988, which is 82 minutes. Fearmakers, Camera Operator and Assistant Sound Editor, that's 9 minutes. Anxiety of Terror, a 25-minute appreciation of Clifton Parker score by David Huckvale again. Super 8 version, 20 minutes. Sam Ham with another Trailers from Hell, and various trailers. And finally, from 1962, The Damned. It's a 2-disc Blu-ray set. There's Oliver Reed. Right, so The Damned has quite the special features as well. It's a 2K restoration. We have an alternate presentation of the complete 96-minute version, playable as either The Damned or These Are the Damned. Box set exclusive presentation of the rarely seen original 87-minute UK theatrical cut of The Damned. There's a commentary with Kat Ellinger and Sam Dagan. There's Inside the Damned, a new appreciation, 27 minutes, with Alan Barnes, Kevin Lyons, Nick Riddle and Jonathan Rigby. Hammer's Women is by Becca Lindfors, which is 15 minutes from 2019, by Lindsay Hallam. Looking in the Right Place, actor Shirley Ann Field recalls working with Oliver Reed and Joseph Losey. That's 10 minutes. Children of the Damned, a 24-minute, with the child actors David Palmer, Kit Williams and Christopher Whitty. They discuss their experience of making of The Damned. Something Out of Nothing for 7 minutes, which is the screenwriter. Evan Jones talking about the film. Smokescreen for 12 minutes. Interview with the camera operator. Beneath the Surface, 26 minutes. Interview with filmmaker Garrick Losey, son of Joseph Losey, who directed the film. Beyond Black Leather, 15 minutes. Academic IQ Hunter, apparently that is his real name, IQ Hunter, discusses The Damned. No Future, 26 minutes, with Neil Sinyard, who does a lot of work on Eureka, especially. He's got really good stuff about Billy Wilder on Eureka's Billy Wilder releases. The Lonely Shore, 21 minutes, appreciation of James Bernard's score by David Huckvale. Isolated music and effects track, trailers, another Joe Dante trailer from Hell commentary. I showed you the booklet before, but I'm just going to show you Oliver Reed one more time. So the Hammer Volume 4, The Revenge of Frankenstein, is a fun little film. Perhaps not the best Frankenstein film, but again, having two commentaries with Jonathan Rigby and then Stephen Jones and Kim Newman, I mean, that's fantastic. And then we have The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, which is a real interesting little film. Christopher Lee also features as a money-grabbing dandy. It's actually one of his better performances. It's a really fun, interesting film as well that kind of got forgotten about. Scream of Fear is a really wonderful little film, heavily influenced by Le Diabolique by Clouseau. I mean, quite a lot of people were influenced by Le Diabolique by Clouseau, including, of course, Hitchcock for Psycho. Yeah, it's a really effective little chiller, and actually there's some good roles for women, Susan Strasberg and Anne Todd, because obviously Jimmy Sangster, who wrote it, has been criticised for not really giving or writing decent parts for women, but two really good roles in Scream of Fear or Taste of Fear. And then we have The Damned, which is spectacular. I had never seen it before or much heard of it before, but again, it's another indicator smash hit. It's one of those films that starts one way and then takes a slight left turn, and by the artwork it's not necessarily the film that you think it's going to be, but I'm not going to go into detail about it. That's not really the purpose of this video. So that's kind of an overview. I have kind of warbled on pointlessly. So we have Hammer Volume 4 by Indicator, William Castle Volume 2, and Bloody Terror by Norman J. Warren. So the results are in, and we've had all the votes are in. So I would say probably in third place is William Castle Volume 2, which is a bit of a come down from the rip-roaring success of Volume 1. Because if I'm being entirely honest, as much as I love Indicator, there's probably only one film on this that I would revisit, and that's The Wonderful Straitjacket with Joan Crawford. The other three films, the extras are certainly worth checking out, but the other films are pretty much, you watch them once and they'll probably go in the collection. You probably won't watch them again. Apart from Straitjacket, if you're having a Joan Crawford night, then Straitjacket is an essential. So in second place is Bloody Terror by Norman J. Warren. Again, these films are not great, but three of them are a lot of fun. The other two aren't as much fun, but have their moments. But what really makes this set is the extras. I know some people aren't that interested in extras, but I think if you're buying Indicator titles, you're generally interested in the extras. And Norman J. Warren, again, before I had this box set, wasn't that familiar with his work, but in his interviews he does come across as a lovely man who, let's be honest, quite a lot of people and the horror directors are actually really lovely people. I mean, George Romero, by all accounts, is arguably the nicest man to have ever walked the planet. So, the films aren't perhaps the greatest in the world. The history of kind of British cinema and Norman J. Warren's story, and just the amount of information that's on the extras, I would kind of recommend that box set. Perhaps to get in a sale. I wouldn't necessarily say to people to rush out and get it full price. I would probably wait for next year's Indicator sale. Obviously, if you're interested in British horror, then you've probably got it already. But if you haven't, it's certainly for the extras and for a historical perspective. It's a good set to have, but I wouldn't necessarily rush out and buy it full price. Obviously, it's not went out of print, and I'm guessing it probably won't go out of print. So theoretically, or not theoretically, actually, the winner of this box set battle is Hammer Volume 4, Faces of Fear. Like I said, Revenge of Frankenstein I would say is solid. Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll is a lot of fun. It's funny, this set kind of builds slowly. Scream of Fear is a really interesting, well constructed little chiller, and then The Damned is an absolute gem. Again, restored beautifully by Indicator, as you'd expect. Just awesome special features and extras. And The Damned, again, is just one of those little Indicator films that, well, certainly I, in my ignorance, had never really heard of or was aware of. Very much like Yesterday's Enemy in Volume 3 of the Hammer box set, which is just jaw-droppingly amazing. The Damned is so good. So I would highly recommend picking up Hammer Volume 4 if you haven't already. The other two, if it floats your boat, pick them up. But I wouldn't go rushing. Well, you won't be rushing to any shops anytime soon anyway. But I would maybe wait for sales to pick up the Bloody Terror or William Castle Volume 2. So I hope you enjoyed that video, even though it was long and rambling, and I apologise. And hopefully you'll help out Indicator by buying their box sets, or not. So thanks very much for watching, and who knows, one day we might have another box set battle. I'll have to watch them first. So thanks for watching. Hope you're staying safe. This is Solitude Rowan saying farewell.